It's fast approaching 8:15. Let's take a look at this now. The Nelson Mandela and Ahmed Kathrada foundations will collectively mark Africa Month this week. They've planned a photographic exhibition and dialogue on xenophobia to remind South Africans of their indebtedness to other African countries. To tell us more, we're now joined by Sello Hatang. He's the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Mr. Hatang, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
What is incredibly interesting is that this exhibition was planned a year ago with no idea that we would be experiencing xenophobic violence this year. And you did this because you were convinced, as the Nelson Mandela Foundation, that we had not learned from the lessons of 2008. What foresight? Tell us more.
Thank you very much. I think the decision to go for this exhibition, as I said, that it was about a year ago. And it was after sporadic attacks that had been happening in some parts of the country of non-nationals. And we then decided that it's clear that we hadn't learned much from 2008, that we needed to be reminded of the role that was played by particularly Southern Africa in our liberation. And we thought, we made the decision and contracted people to do the job. And when they went out to collect the photographs, you'll see the images that we use in the exhibition when it's opened on Thursday. It's the most graphic exhibition we've ever had as the foundation. It shows the loss of life, basically, where people were burned alive, were bombed by the SADF in order for South Africa to destabilize, apartheid South Africa to destabilize the continent. Now, having gone through that and knowing that, you then have these xenophobic attacks. I think it's a terrible loss of memory, a terrible failure of memory.
You juxtaposed those images with a dialogue as well and spoke to me briefly about it off air, saying that we need more substance in our conversations. That while it is a good step to perhaps learn the AU anthem, and it's a progressive step to sort of try and know a little bit about the African Union, that more needs to be done to give us a little bit more gravitas on the matters here. Elaborate, if you will.
I think it's one thing to be horrified about what's been happening, the loss of life and everything that's been going with that. But it's quite another to say, we've now seen what happened. What do we need to do next? That's why the theme for the dialogue is taking responsibility, finding long-term sustainable solutions to xenophobia. Because us being horrified and us just dismissing as criminal what's been going on doesn't help much. We then have to say, what do political formations have to say about this? And the ANC, as the ruling party, the deputy SG of the ANC will be there to talk about what political formations need to do to ensure that we understand not only our history, but what we need to do to understand that we are part of the African continent. The fact that you have Africans in the north trying to go to Europe, and they drown in the Mediterranean, the over 900 people who drowned recently, tells us that the African continent is bleeding and asking for hope. They come down south looking for that hope. Now, what do we do in South Africa? We then insult that and we say, no, we don't see ourselves as part of the continent. And in fact, you could say that the dialogue will be about trying to maybe unlock some of the issues that we have not even been dealt with. That's why we're going to have a multisectoral dialogue that will have business, political formations, media, the role of media. It's one thing to say that the media did wrong by publishing the photographs. It's quite another to say, what do they need to do?
That's right.
Maybe we were not shocked enough in 2008 by images of a burning man. So maybe we needed something then to shock us to say, this is serious. We need to be taking action to ensure that this never happens again. So the role of media needs to be looked into. Is there a way of reporting more responsibly? Is there a better way maybe of doing it? And those are questions that we need to be asking ourselves constantly.
How does one get involved? Because when you speak about responsibility, taking responsibility in the theme, you've numbered various stakeholders. So I'm assuming civil society, government, private sector, etc., need to take responsibility. So how do we get involved and check out the exhibition and also participate in this dialogue?
I think as soon as the exhibition is launched, rather let me start off with the dialogue, that on the dialogue front, the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation and the Nelson Mandela Foundation saw it fit to say, let's have these difficult conversations. You know, it's time to stop being horrified. It's time to say, now, after 2008, what do we need to have learned in 2008 that we didn't? The foundation, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, conducted community dialogues back in 2009, 10, and up to 2012. And out of that process, we came up with recommendations where we worked with government, with social development, and said there needs to be action taken to ensure that not only do you control your borders, it's not enough to say control your borders. Just as Europe says, control your borders. In fact, I was in Italy recently. And I was ashamed that I couldn't even say a word against people who were marching just opposite my hotel, who were marching against foreigners. So
it's not an isolated problem.
Not an isolated
it's not exclusive to
so
South Africa.
All of us, it's now to be isolationist and say, let's just stay south and we remain South Africa and everybody must go. It's not going to help.
Yeah.
So what do we need to do more? So I think in terms of your contribution as a viewer at home, we're saying you can come to the exhibition from Friday. You're welcome to come to the exhibition, and we opened between 8 and 5 in the afternoon. And you can then see the role of Southern Africa and how Madiba said we need to be thanking them, and we haven't thanked Africa enough for its contribution. So and then on the dialogue front, unfortunately this one is by invitation only. So it's going to be about maybe 100-seater dialogue. Media is welcome there, but then we then saying after this we need to be having dialogues again that are now about action. What do we need to do? What does the Department of Home Affairs have to do? Foreign Affairs, because the image of the continent of South Africa is tainted. You can't go anywhere in Europe and beat your chest to say I'm South
I was actually about to ask that, because you travel extensively, and I'd wanted to know whether or not this glorious image of Dr. Nelson Mandela and this new South Africa, etc., the Rainbow Nation, has now taken a bit of a beating. So you know, as of the recent events, do you find that more people are frowning at the thought of South Africa?
Not necessarily frowning, because I think people understand that what Professor Chilembembe says, it's reaching a difficult moment where decolonized countries go through that after 15 to 20 years. So we are like any other country that's trying to reimagine itself. There are younger people who have no idea what happened in the past, and that narrative means nothing to them. Yeah. So we need to now find new narratives that say, a new story, if you like. And I think the rest of the world understands that we're going through the pains of building our democracy, where we're trying to reimagine ourselves. Because we still don't know, by South African, 21 years on, what does it mean if I'm poor, if I don't have anything to lose? Because we're breeding a culture of young people who have nothing to lose. And it's that we need to work on, which is very dangerous. You must have people who have a lot to lose. In terms of their actions also, because it means that they'll be more responsible. And
also, as a people who perhaps are more privileged and are not exposed to the problems of the lower LSM of our society, not to just dismiss their concerns as stop xenophobia, go away, sit down and just deal with your issues. We need to understand the psyche, the understanding, the thought processing of those who commit atrocities such as xenophobic attacks.
Precisely, and in fact, I think another thing that we keep ignoring, and something that the president of SANEF put very well, he said, you know, it's interesting that when you look at xenophobic attacks, that they are predominantly in areas where you don't have private security. What would happen if, for example, you have this happening in your shop where you've got a private security company? The private security company will take charge, and they will shoot whoever is now a threat to their client, as it were. So I think we need to be reimagining ourselves and reimagining solutions that take us beyond just dismissing.
All right, that exhibition taking place, you said, as of Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Is this at the Centre of Memory in Houghton?
Yes.
At the Nelson Mandela Centre of Memory in Houghton. You are invited to attend there. The debate and the discussion, the dialogue itself will be closed, but we are hoping that it will be a catalyst for more such discussions. And also use your own discretion and liberty to have such confirmation or conversations amongst yourselves, wherever your sphere of influence may be. Thank you so much for joining us, Sello Hatang, the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. All right.